Hi, this is Stephen Bourne with the Rye Civic League. I'm going to let you know what happened in October, but stick around. You're going to learn about this new book by this man. Hi, this is Stephen Bourne with the Rye Civic League. So in October, Scott McQuaid was selected by the Select Board to fill the term of Mike Couto, who left. He was selected over Tom King, Don Cavallero, who ran a write-in campaign, and Mindy Anderson, who looked really interested. Remember, there's going to be 4 open positions in March. On the 29th, we had the second informational information for people that want to learn about running and what does it take to be a Select Board member. The video does, the recording works on this one. The next one is going to be on Thursday, November 13th, once again at the Rye Junior High. The Rye Harbor study by Ty and Bond about the PDA, that meeting was October 14th. I've got a link to the next steps, a couple of the full report, and you can watch the whole video if you'd like to do that. Rye Sewer, they had their asset management program. They on the 21st, there was a presentation. The minutes, Lee Arthur put a huge amount of time into those minutes. They're very comprehensive, shorter than the whole presentation. You can really understand what's going on. If they were going to replace all of the Rye Sewer, $36 million. Speaking of waste, the EPA has notified the Coakley Landfill Group that there's runoff of PFOAs because the cap's not working and it's getting into Berries Brook and Little River. So a couple letters, actions, aren't you glad we didn't buy the Breakfast Hill landfill, because probably would have had the same issues. All right, the school board presented the same enrollment work. They did a great job on that report. There's a link to the facilities. The bottom line is that the enrollment's been staying flat, but we've been building housing, which means we're adding people, and there's only a limited about 400 maybe more houses that can be built. So what are we going to have to do? Actions, next step. Really need to have more of a community discussion about that, what to do next. The regional association, so that's the money we give every year to local charities that help, that benefit people in Rye. When Tom King was the Select Board, he put in a process that this group's been following, and they presented their findings, what they're doing. It's been a huge amount of consolidation. Groups are changing, bought out. They follow the process the Select Board agreed to, but there was still a lot of dialogue and stuff with that going on. The New Hampshire DOT notified Jason Rucker, the DPW director, that they're going to be working on some culverts. There's going to be a closure on Church Road. I'm not sure if Washington Road, at the intersection of Ocean Boulevard and Washington. They say it may start around November 17th, so pay attention to that. There was a discussion with Conservation Commission members, at the Select Board members, and they said they're working on an RFP to lease out the management of Goss Farm. So, that's not been made available to the public or not. At the Planning Board meeting, developer is presenting a 12-unit condo for Sagamore. So that's like the last property heading into Portsmouth on the right there. So 12 units made for people to downsize to. It's not made for kids. There's no yards, but they've done a really good job pushing it in the way back, back of it. So it is a big building, but it'll be in the back. And then on the Select Board, Andy Syker presented, the Select Board meeting announced Alex Hurley's new book, Rye, New Hampshire, a town at the crossroads of American history, by our town historian. There's going to be, you can pre-buy the books, we have, and Alex is going to talk about it. But as a sneak preview, here's Alex talking about what got him started and a little bit about the book, so you can be all pumped up, and everyone should come, standing room only, November 20th, 6:30 p.m. at the church.
Good afternoon. In the last light of standard time, here we are in the back of the church, and Rye history doesn't get much better than this. The oldest grave that we have, this is actually a graveyard, not the central cemetery, it was here long before the cemetery, is early 1800s. Colonel Garland of Garland's Tavern is buried just over there. We actually have a walking tour of the cemetery. It's on the Historical Society website. But we're going to take a walk down to this historic graveyard. It's one of the most beautiful areas in Rye. So we're just going to walk along. A lot of familiar names here on these graves relating to founding families. But it's still an active graveyard. People still own plots here. People are still buried here. So it's a very interesting part. And it is, like all of the central cemetery, it's kept up with perpetual care with the funds that the people who own the plots provide. But the reason we're here today, I want to talk about my new book on Rye history, and we're going to walk down to this beautiful bench here that overlooks the cemetery. So I got my first inkling about writing this book over 50 years ago. My mother gave me a tip on an older woman I could interview. She didn't want to be interviewed, but Emma Foss wrote me a wonderful 5-page letter reminiscing about her childhood in the 1890s. And that's one of those things you hold on to. And just like Ken Burns in his Civil War film, he held on to a letter that was written by an officer from Rhode Island to his wife, and he held on to that while he was making the whole series. And I've been holding on to this Emma Foss letter, and it is in my book. So when you write a history of a town, you get a lot of help. It takes a whole village, of course, to write the thing, because I've got a lot of different contributions, and probably over 20 different people, mostly from the past, are in my book. So it has many voices. So looking down here now, we can see that we're coming upon the main part of the Central Cemetery. This used to be land that belonged to the Rand family, and back in the early 1890s it was purchased, and the beginning of the cemetery started way down in the back, and it worked its way incrementally towards what is now the town green. That's not the cemetery, that's the town green over there beyond the trees. But one of the loveliest benches and lookouts that we have here in this town, I think, is right here. And I'm going to turn around and just talk a little bit more about my book, and while we have these last days of light. So my book is Rye, New Hampshire, a town at the crossroads of American history. One of the choices for the cover was Esther Parsons. She was already inside the book. Ultimately, we decided to have a picture of Rye Harbor because it'd be more recognizable. Esther is still in the book. She's just back inside. And she was a wonderful choice, actually, for the front when we were thinking about it, because she represents the past, present, and future of Rye. So I'll be talking about this book on November 20th when we have the book launch event at the church that we just walked by in the fellowship hall. And there's been a lot of publicity on this. I hope you'll enjoy it, get a chance to read it. Certainly it will be in the library. For my author photo, I chose not my face. I think this is much better. It's a picture of me skating on the eel pond back in 1980. And that, of course, is an iconic pond in view in town skating south. All right, that's enough about the book. Thank you very much.